Hello everybody, welcome to another review. So I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album by Dayseeker. This is Creature in the Black Night. So the band has released 5 albums for this upcoming record, with one of them being the title track, Creature in the Black Night, which was the second single. But yeah, I've been following most of these singles for the release, as I do quite like a little bit of Dayseeker. Dark Sun and Sleep Talk are pretty good records, and I want to see if they continue following that trend of the kind of hard rock, post-hardcore with alt metalcore kind of snippets into their sound, as well as it also brings a bit more of a synthy feel to it, which is definitely something they play with a lot to add to another instrumentation to the sound they're going for here. So Dayseeker, we have what I think we got with this record is some punchy ideas and some pretty fleshed out tracks for sure, but as a whole I don't think the album quite holds up to the previous stuff, in my opinion. Pale Moonlight, the song, this one being the lead single, I remember this one being quite popular. It's fine, but I think the issue I have with this track, if anything, it just kind of reminds me of Architect, especially off the new record as well, just kind of a bit more softer, but it has this very poppy metal fusion to it, and I don't mind it, but in comparison it's definitely not one of Dayseeker's strongest songs by far. It's kind of a standard track, it's nothing great, but it's nothing bad either, just a decent track. Creature in the Black Night kind of reminds me a bit of Bad Omens, which I feel like is kind of something I'll draw comparisons with. Bad Omens being more on the industrial metal side, but they do blend a lot more poppy, softer hard rock elements with a little bit of metal adjacent sounds. And yeah, Creature in the Black Night reminds me of that when it kind of builds up into its little breakdown, and this one's fine. I feel like it's a bit more interesting than Pale Moonlight, because at least it is a bit more of a kind of shift in narrative, and it's a little bit more interesting in writing wise, but again, nothing crazy. Crawl Back to My Coffin is very much basic, mainstream Dayseeker, and yeah, this one's okay. I'm not really that big on it, to be honest. It doesn't stand out to me, it's just kind of a whatever single. I think the weakest single of the album, actually. And then we have Shapeshift. This is the first song I actually think is pretty good. This one's catchy, got a great chorus, got a great structure, and I love the guitars on this one, and I think it just kind of has a heavier presence that works great. If they want to lean a little bit more into kind of a metal pop fusion, I think this is a better way to do it, because it intertwines the synths, the pop, the metal, and I think it's structured a lot better. Plus the breakdown definitely hits much better than the first two songs. So yeah, at least Shapeshift's great. Soulburn is a bit of a slow burner. It's a different track, just kind of a tame, softer electronic one, and I just feel it's a bit barren. I think I understand what they're trying to do here, but I just wish there was more to the instrumentation here. It's just whatever, in my opinion. Bloodlust, though, this was another single, and this one was really good. Probably up there with Shapeshift. It's just a heavy, fun song. This one's great. Love the energy, love the cleans on this one, and Bloodlust definitely is a highlight for sure. Cemetery Blues, also an amazing way of mixing pretty much the genres here. I feel like some tracks just don't do it quite well, just give you kind of a basic not really punchy feel, but this one definitely does that well. And Nocturnal Remedy is also an enjoyable track as well. Love the melody, just love the structure on this one. And then we have The Living Dead, which this one is a bit more on the tamer side, and it's just basically reminds me of a weaker Crawl Back to My Coffin, and I'm not even that big on that one, so I wasn't really feeling The Living Dead. Meet the Reaper just didn't really appeal to me. It just kind of felt, again, basic, just not really anything that grabbed me. And then Forgotten Ghost, I think, is probably the weakest track on the album, or at least one of them. I just don't remember this one, and it's anything, it just kind of continues on the more mainstream Dayseeker sound. Instead of actually going into their strengths, it just kind of highlights a bit more of the weaknesses of this. And yeah, that's pretty much all the tracks off this record. I do like Dayseeker a lot, and I do think they've had some great stuff, but this album is definitely nowhere near their best, and And it's kind of a shame as well because they've been leaning more into a heavier direction with this album, but a lot of it just kind of comes off as similar to what bands like Wage War or While She Sleeps have gone for. Something a lot more mainstreamy, something that just feels very much pandering to a crowd that doesn't want it too heavy, and that's kind of how I got it. And I'm not expecting Dayseeker to be intensely heavy, but the way that they lie onto the pop metal, I just definitely feel like they're kind of going for the modern Bring Me the Horizon fans that prefer that's the Spirit Onwards era of them. And this definitely also feels like the Bad Omen fans that pretty much want the Death of Peace in Mind onwards to whatever the new singles are. So it's fine. Obviously, I don't think it's a terrible album. I will give it a positive score of a 3 out of 5. But I wouldn't say it's anything to write home about. I think its disappointment just comes from the fact that it has some of the weakest writing the band's done. Instrumentally, there's some good moments, but it doesn't really bring in anything too memorable. And the main highlight relies on Rory's voice, which Rory is definitely a confident good singer, but there's some songs I just kind of wish did a bit more with his good range, and I just feel because he don't, it just lacks the potential. And that's pretty much my main issue, is there's potential, just the execution doesn't fully show it. But if we had more tracks like Shapeshift, Bloodlust, hell, I would even take a few more Creature and the Black Knight, just something that has a bit more of a different feel to other tracks, then this one will be higher on the in the discography. But as of where it is, it's definitely kind of middle ground to one of the weaker records of theirs. But it's not the worst thing either. I still think it's a fairly enjoyable album. I just think it's more disappointing, and there could be more done with it. But that's all I have to say. Hope you'll enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next video.